1 in 5 moms face this after birth. That number is shocking when you first hear it. But what is even more shocking is how many people still do not know what this really looks like. Because when most people hear the words postpartum depression or perinatal anxiety, they imagine one thing: a mother crying all day, a mother who looks visibly broken, a mother who cannot get out of bed, a mother who is obviously in crisis. But that is not always what it looks like. Sometimes it looks like a mother who is smiling in photos, a mother who says she is just tired, a mother who is feeding the baby, changing diapers, and doing everything she is supposed to do. A mother who looks functional on the outside, while quietly struggling on the inside. That is one of the biggest reasons these conditions are missed. They do not always look dramatic or announce themselves loudly. And they do not only show up as sadness. Too many mothers dismiss what they are feeling simply because they are not crying all the time. They think, "I'm not depressed. I'm just overwhelmed. I'm not struggling. I'm just exhausted. I'm not anxious. I'm just being a good mom." But PPD and anxiety can show up as loss of interest, sleep and appetite changes, guilt, irritability, and feeling unlike yourself. And that is where this conversation has to begin. Not with shame or fear, but with recognition. Because you cannot ask for help for something you do not know how to name. So in this video, we are going to talk about what postpartum depression and perinatal anxiety actually look like. Not the stereotype, the reality. This is common. Perinatal mental health conditions affect a significant share of mothers, often cited as 1 in 5 women. 1 in 5. This is happening in homes, hospitals, and family gatherings every single day. And still, many mothers feel alone. Let's start with sadness. A mother may cry more than usual, feel emotionally heavy, hopeless, flat, or disconnected from joy. But one of the most overlooked symptoms is irritability. A mother may say, "I'm snapping at everyone. I have no patience." Irritability is often mislabeled as stress or hormones. But persistent irritability can be a way depression or anxiety shows up. Then there is anxiety. A mother may look calm but feel constantly on edge inside, with racing thoughts and worst-case scenarios. She may check the baby constantly, unable to relax even when the baby is sleeping, struggling to rest because her mind won't stop scanning. To outsiders, this looks like attentiveness. But inside, it can feel relentless.
Healthy concern says, "I care." Anxiety says, "I cannot turn this off." Another symptom is feeling disconnected from the baby.
This carries so much shame, yet it is a common warning sign. Emotional disconnection doesn't mean a mother doesn't care. It means she is struggling, overwhelmed by the interference of depression. Then there are changes in sleep, appetite, and concentration. These matter. There's a difference between expected exhaustion and deeper symptoms. Concentration can suffer. She may feel foggy, forgetful, and unable to make basic decisions without feeling overwhelmed. These conditions do not only affect mothers. Up to 1 in 10 fathers may also experience postpartum depression in the first year. This conversation has to expand. It's about families understanding that after birth, mental health deserves attention too. Why do we miss the signs? Part of the answer is expectations. We expect early parenthood to be glowing and beautiful. But when a mother feels fear instead of joy, she thinks, "I should be happier." That shame makes her stay silent. Imagine a new mother in a quiet room at night. The baby is asleep, but her heart is racing and her mind is running. Would everyone around her recognize that as a mental health concern? Or would they just say, "Welcome to motherhood"? If something feels off, the safest response is curiosity and honesty. Ask, "Am I functioning or just surviving?" This video is encouraging you not to ignore warning signs. Professional evaluation is a wise next step if you feel unlike yourself. You do not have to wait until it becomes unbearable to take it seriously. Early recognition can change everything. Postpartum depression and perinatal anxiety do not always look the way people expect. They are not always loud. They are not always dramatic, and they are not limited to sadness. That matters, because when people only look for the stereotype, they miss the real warning signs right in front of them. And that is what this part is about. The symptoms families miss most often, the ones people excuse, the ones parents hide, the ones that get dismissed as just part of having a baby. even when they are becoming something much heavier. Let's begin with one of the most overlooked signs of all: normal exhaustion versus something deeper. Every new parent is tired, that part is real. Sleep gets interrupted, routines disappear, the body is recovering. The baby needs constant care. So yes, exhaustion is expected. But that is exactly why symptoms can hide so easily. Because when a mother says, "I'm exhausted," everyone nods. When she says, "I haven't been sleeping," everyone says, "Welcome to parenthood." When she says, "I can't focus," people think, "Of course, you have a newborn." And sometimes those reactions are understandable, but they can also be dangerous. Because postpartum depression and perinatal anxiety can also affect sleep, concentration, energy, and appetite. NIMH describes perinatal depression as ranging from mild to severe, with symptoms that can affect your daily life. That overlap is why so many parents question themselves. They wonder, am I just tired? Am I just emotional because everything is new? Or is something actually wrong? That uncertainty is one of the reasons people wait too long. They keep hoping the answer is simple. There is a difference between expected exhaustion and a deeper emotional struggle. Expected exhaustion is draining, but it doesn't fill you with dread. Perinatal anxiety may leave you unable to rest, even when you have the chance. Depression can make you feel foggy, detached, and unlike yourself. Many mothers are not only tired, they are tired and emotionally overwhelmed, tired and anxious, tired and consumed by guilt. Another warning sign families miss is irritability. This one is especially easy to misread. A mother may not seem sad. She may feel constantly on edge, easily frustrated, unable to tolerate noise, mess, or even gentle comments. Small things start feeling huge. The nervous system feels like it is always one step away from overload. Persistent irritability can be part of postpartum depression. Families think the mother is just stressed, and no one asks if it's a warning sign. Then there is trouble concentrating. This symptom does not look dramatic, but it can affect daily life deeply. A parent may struggle to make basic decisions. They may describe it as brain fog, but it's a loss of clarity beyond ordinary distraction. People say, "That's mom brain." They laugh it off. But sometimes it is a sign that the mind is under emotional strain. Loss of interest can be subtle. A parent may stop enjoying things she normally likes. Music, TV, and conversations feel empty or draining. Why is this missed? Because from the outside, it looks like a parent who is simply busy or focused on the baby. Feeling disconnected from the baby is one of the hardest signs to talk about. Many parents are terrified of what people will assume. A mother can love her baby and still feel emotionally numb. It doesn't mean she is a bad mother. It means she is struggling. Families miss this because the mother is still doing all the tasks. She is feeding, changing, holding, and showing up. Then there is sleep that does not improve even when the baby sleeps. This is a major red flag. Her mind keeps scanning. Perinatal anxiety can sound like love or caution. It hides well. A parent may seem highly attentive, but inside she feels relentless mental noise. Families confuse distress with dedication. They think the parent is simply being careful. But anxiety becomes a problem when it never turns off. Guilt ties everything together. Guilt for not feeling happier, for needing help, for not looking like the mothers in other people's stories. A struggling parent may not use clinical words. They might just say, "I don't feel like myself," or "I can't calm down," when someone hears those openings. The best response is curiosity and care. Not, "That's normal," but "Tell me more." Early recognition matters. Not because every hard day means a diagnosis, but because when something feels persistently off, evaluation matters. This conversation includes dads too. Studies show 1 in 10 dads experiences postpartum depression. This is a conversation for families. For anyone looking at a new parent and assuming they are just tired, when in reality they may need care. By now, we've established something important. These symptoms are real. They are common. They are often missed. And they do not have to look dramatic to matter. So the next question becomes the one that changes everything. What should a parent, partner, friend, or family member actually do when these signs show up? Because awareness is important. But awareness without action still leaves people suffering in silence. And this is where many families get stuck. They notice something feels off, but they do not know whether it is serious enough. They worry about overreacting. They hope it will pass on its own. They do not want to embarrass the parent. They do not want to say the wrong thing. So they wait. And too often, waiting becomes the default response. That is a mistake. Not because every hard postpartum day means a diagnosis, but because persistent symptoms deserve evaluation, not guessing. ACOG recommends screening for depression and anxiety happen at the initial prenatal visit, later in pregnancy, and again at postpartum visits. The right response is not to wait for a crisis. The right response is to pay attention early. Because one of the biggest myths is that help is only necessary when someone is visibly falling apart. That is not true. A parent does not have to hit the absolute bottom before support becomes appropriate. A mother does not have to be crying all day. She does not have to stop functioning completely. She does not have to prove how much she is hurting. If the sadness lingers, if the anxiety becomes relentless, if the guilt is consuming, that is enough to take seriously. NIMH describes perinatal depression as a condition that can range from mild to severe and affect mood, sleep, and concentration. So what does action actually look like? It starts with something simple. Say the quiet part out loud. If you are the parent experiencing these signs, it might sound like, I don't feel like myself, or I'm worried something is off. If you are the partner, it might sound like, I've noticed you seem really overwhelmed. I want to check on how you're doing emotionally. That kind of language matters because it creates an opening, and openings matter when someone is carrying shame. Specific support works better. I can stay with the baby while you rest. I can help you make an appointment. That is how care becomes usable. Because when someone is depressed or anxious, even small tasks can feel huge. Professional evaluation is important because love is not the same thing as assessment. A professional can determine what is actually happening. Sometimes the safest answer is not to keep debating it internally. It is to get evaluated. Evaluation is not failure. It is information. It is support. It is clarity. One of the most important messages is this: screening is not dramatic. It is preventive. It should be routine. Mental health conditions during pregnancy and postpartum can be treated. Perinatal depression is treatable. If a parent tells you she is struggling, avoid dismissive responses. Instead, say, "Thank you for telling me. You don't have to carry this alone." This conversation must include fathers too. About 1 in 10 dads experiences postpartum depression. Perinatal mental health is a family health issue. When one parent is struggling, everyone feels it. You are allowed to seek evaluation before it gets worse. You are allowed to say, "I don't know what this is, but I don't feel right." That sentence is enough to begin. By this point, the picture is clear. Postpartum depression and perinatal anxiety are common. They are often missed. They do not always look like sadness. They can show up as irritability, fear, sleep and appetite changes, trouble concentrating, loss of interest, emotional disconnection, or the feeling that a parent no longer feels like themselves. Clinical and public health sources describe these as real, common, and treatable conditions. And that brings us to the final question. Why does early help matter so much? Because when symptoms are ignored, normalized, minimized, or hidden, they usually do not disappear just because time passes. Sometimes people assume that once the baby gets older, everything will automatically improve. Sometimes families think a parent just needs rest. But mental health resources emphasize the importance of screening precisely, because these symptoms deserve attention before they become more severe. That is what early help changes. It interrupts the silence. It interrupts the guessing. It interrupts the shame-driven habit of waiting until things become unbearable. For many parents, that shift can change the whole postpartum experience. Not because help makes everything instantly easy, but because help means a parent does not have to keep suffering alone while pretending it is normal. One of the most damaging ideas is this belief that a parent should wait until things are extreme before speaking up. That belief hurts families. A parent may think, "It's not bad enough yet. I'm still functioning. Other people have it worse." Because of those thoughts, many people delay care. But early support is not overreacting. It is protecting health. It is responding to warning signs the same way we would respond to physical symptoms. Help is not only for the moment of collapse, help is also for the early signs, the quiet signs, the private signs. And when help comes earlier, several things can happen. A parent may get clarity about what is going on. She may stop blaming herself for symptoms that are real and recognized. She may feel less alone. And that reduction in isolation is huge. Because isolation feeds shame. Shame feeds silence. And silence often allows symptoms to grow. Early help doesn't only support the parent emotionally. It can also support the whole family system. When a parent is deeply anxious or depressed, the whole household feels that strain. Bonding can feel harder. Even ordinary moments carry tension. When a parent is supported earlier, the family has a better chance to respond with care instead of confusion. That changes the atmosphere in the home. Parents struggling are often not lacking love. They are lacking support, language, rest, clarity, treatment, or relief. Then something else becomes possible: real compassion. This is real. You are not weak. We are going to take this seriously. Now, getting help early does not mean recovery will be perfect or immediate. Treatment and recovery do not always move in a straight line. The point is that silence should not be the plan. Suffering alone should not be the strategy. Because this is treatable. Professional care helps separate pain from truth. It helps someone understand what is happening and what next steps make sense. Dads matter here too. 1 in 10 dads experience postpartum depression. It matters for partners who feel withdrawn, irritable, or unlike themselves. The wrong question is this bad enough yet? The better question is, does this deserve care? Early help can change everything because it replaces delay with support. It gives a parent a chance to be seen sooner. If you are the parent listening, you do not need certainty to deserve support. You are allowed to say, I do not feel like myself. And if you are a loved one, watch for the parent who says she is fine but doesn't seem like herself. Do not minimize it. Get supportive. 1 in 5 moms face this. It is common. It is real. Needing help says nothing shameful about a parent's love or worth. Parents are not weak for struggling after birth. Parents are not failing for needing help. And parents are never alone.